Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So this is actually one of the first few videos that I'm going to be doing on Wolverine this month, and it's quite interesting because I've actually been taking some time to prepare myself in terms of doing a little bit of research and looking at some of the content pieces before we start discussions on the subject matter. Now, shout out to one of our audience members that actually mentioned in one of my other Spider-Man videos that the team that worked on Spider-Man Miles Morales is the team working on the Wolverine game within the Insomniac studio, because I, for one, was kind of misconstruing how they were planning on releasing Spider-Man 2 in 2023 and then quickly have a turnaround to get the Wolverine game out. So if we actually had to weigh from that, I think that Wolverine game is more than likely going to follow schedule and maybe come out after that Spider-Man game in about a year or two. I mean, it would be nice though if it came out the very next year, because that will mean a whole big deal for superhero gaming. Now, this video is designed to basically speak about Insomniac handling the Wolverine game, having been in a situation where previously as gamers, the other Wolverine games that were available were actually developed with the Activision banner on them. So Activision used to do a lot of the Marvel games. I think even Spider-Man, Beanox, and maybe a few other studios. I don't know if anybody else was actually developing, but Beanox was there developing some of the Spider-Man games, and it was actually interesting to see. Those games did not have a lot of polish back then. I think, it was based on maybe the technology or the available time frame or the budget to develop these games that kind of brought them out the way that they were, but it didn't still take away some of the core aspects that make those games special for gamers. Now, I had to go track down a way to get an Xbox 360 because I gave mine away years ago and try to play the X-Men Wolverine Origins game again, and so far I've been enjoying it because it's kind of a dungeon crawler, and it really does resonate with me in terms of how they actually made a scaled down world that they could put Wolverine in order for them to be able to make their game. Because back then it was difficult to build an open world game because open world is based on memory and all of those things. So what did they do? They created these environments where you have all these sub levels in a jungle, in old ancient kind of architecture and settlements, and they were able to do a very good job with these kinds of encounters that you had in that game. But for the Wolverine game that's coming out with Insomniac, that's actually promised to come out in a few years, the question is, are we going to be having some sort of an open world or a much more storytelling experience that is somewhat similar to maybe a Batman game that also has some sort of an open-esque world where they actually create that city or that environment, and Logan is able to kind of navigate through the storyline? This is something that I feel is going to be very important because it will really tell what the length of the game is. Now, the team that did Miles Morales, I don't know what the decision making was behind making it a shorter game. I'm not saying it was a bad game, and honestly, I'm not saying I really wanted to sit there and play anything more than like 10, 12 hours of a game, to be very honest. But it is still cool to see that they were able to deliver a solid experience with a very, very short game. I wonder if we're getting a full-fledged game along the lines of, say, the Spider-Man storyline, because this is going to be the very first game, and potentially because they already have their teams set up and they seem to already have a roadmap. Is that going to be something that really does allow for this game to deliver? So these are some of the questions that, really are resonating on the minds of a lot of people. But at the end of the day, though, I think Insomniac at the core has already proven themselves in the sense that they've been able to deliver some really solid experiences across the board. Now, we have the Spider-Man game to kind of commend them for, based on this channel and the fact that we enjoy and talk about superhero games. But, once in a while, we need to bring out, the total body of their work to limelight and talk about even Ratchet and Clank and how much of a good job they did with that game, the Rift Apart game that was released for the PlayStation 5. That was a very solid experience in itself, and the fact that this team was able to deliver not only a remaster for the Spider-Man game from 2018, they were also able to, within a very decent window, deliver the Miles Morales game, and also within a very decent window, deliver the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart game. They really seem to have their ducks in a row, and I think they have a good working culture that seems to allow for their teams to flourish and to thrive. it's very challenging to find studios that have a lot of autonomy for the leaders to be able to just direct the ship and not worry about a lot of the publisher guidelines. And I think we're seeing some of these trends with some of the studios that are under Sony and Microsoft. Now, not saying that all of them are like that, because the news that we've heard about other studios like Naughty Dog has not necessarily been that kind of news. I mean, we've heard Naughty Dog basically is a studio that's high intensity, high stress, high demand, but apparently it might seem things are changing and shaping up. And one thing about getting your game on time is that you have developers who are in the right frame of mind to deliver those games. So I think what may be happening within the studio is that they're actually allowing for enough time. They're making sure that the teams are focused on specific projects in order for them to deliver them in a very good way. So my expectations are for quality, the kind of quality that we've seen in the past games, and I'm sure that's the expectation of everybody else as well, and also to see a very intensive action game. In the next set of videos, hopefully we'll be talking about the setting, about perhaps the tone of the game. It may be a game that's rated a little bit more mature than, say, even other games I guess we're going to be seeing, because I mean, even from the art and from the reveal, you could already tell that the game is probably going to be appealing to a much more mature audience, which I think by now Insomniac is not necessarily worried about appealing to a broader audience. Their Spider-Man games and Ratchet and Clank games already feel that niche. So this Wolverine game might be the game that's slotted into that more mature rating. This is very exciting, folks, because if you think about even other superhero games or other games out there that are trying to come in and vie for some, dollars and for some competition, they're going to have to withstand this game that is being made right now. But these are so-called my thoughts, whatever it is you want to call them, regarding the development process so far and where we are. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If there are any nuggets that you have or anything that you know about this game in development, share it in the comment section. I'm all over the place reading, I'm gathering information, and I'm also depending on you guys for this conversation to continue to drive forward here in the next few weeks. So thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate y'all so much, and hopefully we'll talk in another video. Peace out.